Okay, so we're looking at using the E box, for example, and notice we haven't gotten off square one, but they're all pretty much follow the same rules. Here's an easy trick. You take the major triad root 3 5, its minor triad is going to be in numbers 6 root 3, so you're going to have the same two numbers. It's just they go to the outers instead of the beginnings, the endings. So 3 5 root, and then the minor is going to be 6 3 5. Shares two numbers there. Okay, so with 6 3 5 on the bottom here, 6 root 3 rather. 6 3 5. What is that? 6 3 5. That's a pretty cool chord, but with 6 root 3 sharing those two numbers, we're going to start on root. It's always going to be there, but now we're going to follow a minor triad. So it would be root 3 6, root 3 6 root. Look at that. We've got a D minor, so we've got our second minor right there. It's not our second minor, it's the relative minor. So in the E box, as you know, when you're playing an E, okay, you're going to have that E minor shaped sixth. I do that all the time up here, but we don't want to get into that right now because I'm down tuned here, so that would be a B flat minor. Let's not get mixed up there, because there's two ways to play that D minor shape. You can play it off the bar, or you can play it with the root as part of the bar. 3 6 root like that. Okay, so that's a little different subject there. That's shape fitting. So the rule is the pentatonic is useful because it gives you, within that pentatonic scale is the major and the minor scale, the relative minor. So when we go to the fourth, we get the relative minor of the fourth is the second. When we go to the fifth shape, pentatonic, the relative minor of the fifth shape is the third. Okay. The other benefit of playing pentatonics, without should tell you, is that when you go to the shape of a relative sixth, you're moving ahead one caged letter. So if you're in a C shape, the relative is going to move ahead one caged letter and make it a minor. C goes to A is A minor. Okay, you're playing a G major shape, the relative goes ahead one caged shape in the word caged. G goes to E, caged, C, A, G, E, D. So it would be an E minor shape. If you're playing an A shape, it's going ahead the word caged, C, A, G, A goes to G. So from the A shape, you're going to be playing a G minor. Now let's look at that. Here's an A-shaped root, 5 root 3, okay, in the A cage, starting from the fifth, all started from G up here. See, I'm hitting that 4 right there, giving it a suspended because I can't hold the chord. But the minor shape is going to be one cage letter advanced. So A goes to G. It's going to be a G minor. Now let's look at that number, those numbers. Root 2, 3, 5, 6, but we're going to start on the A. So it's going to be 6 root 3, 5, 6 root 2, 3, 5. Okay, I seem to want to jump ahead. So we're going to start on 6 there. It's 6 root 3, 6 root 3, 5 right there. 6 root 3, 6 rather. What do we got there? We got our G minor shape. So we went from an A major shape, a cage advance in the word cage would be to a G minor shape there. So it would be starting on the 6, it would be like that. So that's how the modals work, and as you can see, it's written right there. Starting from an A shape, skipping the the Locrian 7th, it would be a G minor shape. And look at the word cage come out of the woodwork. A G E D C A G E D. You see? So that works in all of the positions like that. Okay, so we don't get too confused. So we've got the E shape long. Now see this banner here? We'll get the drawing tool. This banner, I can't move these guys around. I got to get them right the first time. This is the E root box right here with playaway. Is going to go from an E shape to a D shape, caged advance. E goes to D in the word caged. We're not going to play this because that's the short box. That's the short box. Okay, we're going to play only the playaway double cage long box. So it's kind of a double cage, but we don't get the first part of that. We're starting on the root here. It's why this banner pertains to this square. That's what I'm trying to show you there. So we want to substitute in, and we're back down here now. Let's look at the C box. Okay, so let's look at E as the third of C right here. So the E string is right here. Remember, this is my guitar is down tuned. Your guitar isn't. So let's just look at this. We'll move these guys over. I'm going to try to line them up. We'll try to line them up as best I can. I don't know if this is going to work, but this last time we had a little bit of trouble lining these strings up. Okay, they look good. So that's where your guitar is. Here's your E string, here's your A string, here's your D string, and in the key of C, we've got to talk about this in some key. And in guitar, it's not as difficult as piano, because piano, you have the keys are different shape, like really different shape. Like C is all the white keys. You can go, okay, but you go to the key of C sharp and you're, okay, you've got like 5 sharps to hit. So you kind of go along those black keys. It's actually easier, they say. Not at first. So let's see, we're right here now. We're back on the regular cage because I want to show you about the substitutions. Okay, so we're not worried about the A shape here. We're not worried about any of this stuff. We're just looking at the C box here. The substitution is going to be, it's going to be C, substitute the E shape, substitute the G shape. Here it is in the modals. It's a C major shaped C, a D minor shaped D minor, an E minor shaped E minor. But notice in the G box, it's going to be a G major shaped G, and then an A minor shaped D minor key of C. A C minor shaped, let's look at that C minor shaped third. So remember, it's going to be, in C, it's always second inversion, so it's going to be 7, 3, 5, 7, 3, 5. It's our third, our Phrygian. But we're not going to play a diatonic Phrygian. We could, if we wanted to, in that C box. We just start on the 3 and follow the C scale up, and there's our Phrygian. Okay? But we're going to just use the E minor shape there. So whatever you can do, whenever you can do in pentatonics a substitution, you can do in triad substitutions. It's less notes. The less notes you're substituting, the more versatile. So if I just play an F, which would be like F, A, C, that could be a root chord, it could be a 4th chord, it could be a 5th chord. What's it the 5th of? B flat. What's it the 4th of? C. What's it the root of? F. So we're going to have